Oh, yeah. Hello. Happy Friday. What is going on, Jeromes? We are here. We're just chilling. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great day. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for making us part of your day and as well as getting through quarantine. And we're doing this. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're tuning in and end of the work week. Although, yeah, life's getting really real, man. A lot of people out of work. The Rona, just a very odd time, just very strange all the way around. But again, thanks a lot for tuning in. Let's light up that live chat. Let's get this baby going. Today I want to start off, what did we want to say? So first off, happy birthday, Jared Allen, who turns 38 today. So Jared Allen, by the way, one of my favorite Vikings of all time, just because, not only because he's dominant, should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but also because he was fun. I mean, it really irks me when players either take the game too seriously or they get all up in their own heads or they get very haughty and arrogant about things. I mean, Jared Allen legit had fun at every single game. It's like Jared Everson. I mean, they would play the game for $10 and a ham sandwich. I firmly believe that. And I mean, the sack dance, and then they had actually changed the sack dance rules. You can't put your knee down, so he just puts on the squat and is like, woo! That's how he rolls. That's right. So I don't know what's going on with. So YouTube's live stream changed their format again, which sort of annoys me. It's like it seems to be like their policy is if it's not broke, break it. But I don't know. Just let me know if we're having problems streaming. Put it in the live chat and we'll fix it. But either way, I'm recording it, so even if this is all garfunkled up, we'll just have this up later. But yeah, Jared Allen. Also, this is great. So 69696969. Right. Plus, he is he's from Los Gatos, California, which is Spanish for the cats. Yeah. How'd you like that? I'm sure there's some sort of story, like when the Spanish settlers got over to California, like the missionaries or something. Is that, ooh, there's a couple of feral cats. We shall call the city the Cats. Which is great. But the fact that he went to Idaho State, who, I mean, every time someone says, oh, Jared Allen, he went to Idaho. No, he went to Idaho State. No, he was not a vandal. Actually, what is Idaho State's mascot? Oh, the Bengals. Boring. So then he comes in. He was actually like a fourth-round pick, right? Like our guy, Max Crosby of the Raiders. We call it Baby Jared Allen. Yeah. So he comes in, fourth-round pick of the Chiefs, is dominant, is amazing, right? Vikings end up trading. What did they trade for him? Let's pull this up. Wiki Jared Allen, because that's where all the good information is. That's where the nice is. All right, so Jared Allen. I mean, his combine was anything to write home about. Whatever. First round pick in 2/3. One of the thirds was used to take Jamal Charles. Also, one of the picks was on a really good offensive lineman. I forget who it was, though. They signed a 6-year, $72 million deal. All right, so six, that's 10, $12 million a year. $12 million for an edge rusher is like decent money now. So the fact that they did that in 08, it's pretty amazing. So came over to the Vikings, big trade. And frankly, I think that trade worked out for both parties involved, which was pretty amazing. So he's a 4-time All-Pro, Pro Bowler, all that other stuff. And we bring up, so the 22 sack season, which should be tied for the record. There was someone else who had a 22 sack season. Was Houston? Is that it? Well, but I mean, the Strahan sack record is so friggin' tainted because of Brett Favre. Because Favre's like, well, do I want to be in the record book again? Of course I do. So it was like, I'm just gonna roll over Beethoven. Now I can't show the video because we'll get kicked off of YouTube. But I mean, that was so infuriating. Like that was so annoying. It's like Brett Favre was like, well, I'm just gonna roll over and here we go and do all the thing. So to me, Jared Allen's the sack king. You know, not the guy who hosts daytime TV on ABC. So get the hell out of here. All right, so we got Q&A. We got up. The question of the day was, what's your death row meal? So we'll get a couple answers there. Let's see here. Mine, I had a whole day to think about it, except I didn't really come up with a good answer. it may be, should I go down like the full on like opulent route? I mean, a great ribeye would be really good, or some really great like dry rub Memphis style ribs would be really good, or some really amazing Texas brisket. I would, yeah, I'll go just like a barbecue sampler platter. So we'll do Texas brisket, we'll do Carolina pulled pork, we'll do Memphis ribs, we'll do Kansas City burnt ends. Yeah, we'll do that. And then also, I mean, as nostalgic as it is, like, so my dad passed away in like oh 06. Yeah, '06. It's been a while. So when I was a kid, well, my dad's a pretty simple guy. Didn't always eat the best. Whatever. But, so white Wonder Bread, like full on pasty Casper ass Brian Russell Wonder Bread, and then a couple of slices of Oscar Mayer bologna, and then the full on fully processed like Kraft slices, and then just yellow mustard. That was great for me. That was the go-to sandwich back in the day. It was really good. Yeah, just bring back good taste memories. So amazing barbecue, and then something from the childhood. And then, is that you, Rona? No. And then, I don't know. We got Schlitz malt liquor. Why not? So also, producer Al has been yelling at me, promote the mugs more. If you want a mug, support the channel. Friends now at Teespring. Links are down below. As well as, we have hashtag Cap is a Myth shirts. Just hot off the presses. Get them down below. Yeah, she yells at me because, so this just sits on my desk. And sometimes my kid, like, plays around on the desk sometimes when I'm not here. And like this thing's been sitting around for a while, so I don't know what's been in here. I'm pretty sure that if I drinketh from this muggeth, I shall get the Rona-ith or something. So there you go. But promote the mug. So first up in the Q&A, filling up the live chat. Let's go, babe. Dylan Haza. Hey, Andy, watched the Minneapolis Miracle game replay last night. Diggs had several important catches throughout the whole does. What are thoughts on happened to the Vikings since that game? I don't know. I still think the miracle broke Diggs. I really did. I think it completely changed his perspective on the world and sort of turned him into a monster. But yeah, we should have live streamed when they were replaying the game, except I was too busy reading Goodnight Moon as well as rewatching Top Chef Season 5 because that's important. All right, so Q&A. First up from Amaya Deshpande. If Fulton and Gladney are gone by 22, do you slightly reach for Terrell or Johnson, or do you wait till corner till round 2? Well, the problem that the Vikings are going to come across, and this happens pretty much every year, is that there's a lot of sexy talent that goes back into the first round, top end of the second round every single year. So at 58, if the Vikings are waiting for a cornerback prospect, will they be gone? It's possible. Could you get Bryce Hall round 2? Maybe. Does Johnson or Terrell maybe make it to 58? Probably not. So I would be okay reaching, preferably Johnson over Terrell. I mean, for me, Terrell is just sort of okay. But yeah, I would do that. Absa Abdi. We've seen a lot of mock drafts involving this year's draft class. Wouldn't it be cool to do a mock draft using Hall of Famers, same draft order? Too much work, but it would be fun. Yeah, I wonder who would be first. I mean, Brady would have to be 1-1 to the Bengals, right? Then the Bengals would ruin Tom Brady somehow, probably. King Duck Cat. If you could have any player in the league, who would it be? Well, I mean, Pat Mahomes is a pretty easy answer. But if you had to go non-quarterback, man, I mean, that's tough. I mean, Aaron Donald is certainly up there. I mean, Aaron Donald still is so freaking legit. At that just amazing interior pressure that he gets every single down. I just love him. Plus, he fights with knives. Corey Chris in the live chat. He's a monthly or platinum Jerome. Find out how you can come along, support the work. Hit that join box down below and get yourself a purple check mark. That's right. Hi, all. What's going on, man? All right. Husgamer 15. If the Vikings trade up to 17, like in your mock draft, and Kinlaw and Henderson are there, who are you taking? Man, that's tough. All right, so Kinlaw, I'd probably take Kinlaw. I would. It's so freaking close. For me, Henderson is cornerback 2 in this class. I think he brings a lot of traits to the table, especially in man-to-man. which Zimmer hasn't really had the luxury of since 2017, Xavier Rhodes. But I mean, Kinlaw, I mean, we talked about Aaron Donald, just that consistent interior pass rush. I think Kinlaw would be pretty amazing. Deshpanda again. With this global pandemic going on, a rookie is likely having to miss a significant amount of reps in the offseason. Does that benefit the stock of developmental projects? I feel like you can look at it both ways. Yeah, I think it is going to potentially hurt some of the rookies coming in, as well as, say, year 2 guys, since you're not going to have rookie camp, which a lot of like younger year 2, year 3 guys also participate in. You're not going to have OTAs. You're potentially missing training camp. So, I mean, like young guys like Holton Hill and even Mike Hughes and Chris Boyd and Mark Fields and Drew Samia, Oli Udo. I mean, who the Vikings are frankly relying on a lot in year 2. I mean, that could be ratcheted back a bit, especially with rookies. Preacher Paul, Holland and all. I'm driving over and judging by traffic I deal with. I'm not sure about Corona. Just saying. Yeah, well, some of the rural areas in the United States are certainly not as affected by the Rona as more densely populated areas. So I frankly, I don't think there should be just like a blanket, everyone stay home. But especially here in the Twin Cities, man. All right, so Walls put out the stay-at-home order, which, but basically you can weasel your way in through every single business can somehow find themselves to be essential, which I'm trying to find a balancing act between stopping the spread of the virus as well as, or slowing the spread of the virus, as well as trying to keep the economy from crashing, especially small businesses, which I certainly commiserate with. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are just out dicking around. I mean, for real. Like Wednesday afternoon, we went to we picked up a prescription. So we drove by Target, and Target's not really a grocery store, even though it's got grocery items. But I mean, the parking lot was jam full on a Wednesday afternoon, and they're like families like taking their kids out, which okay, but no. Brian Nias, doubleheader for you. Number 1, who wins more games, the Bucks in year 1 of the Brady experiment or the Bills in year 3? Bucks pretty easily. I really like the Bills, but actually, so the Bucks defense pretty legit. If they can protect Brady, I mean, that wide receiver core is legit. I mean, Brady isn't the vertical threat that he used to be, though. Josh Allen with Diggs now. They made the playoffs last year. I really like what McDermott's doing. I'm still gonna say the Bucks, just because tinfoil conspiracy. They need the Bucks to go far in the playoffs. Number 2, how do you see the division shaping out this year? My prediction: Packers 12-5, Vikings 11-6. Wildcard. Is it the 17-game season this year or is it next year? I think it's next year. But yeah, the Vikings win the division. Packers slightly behind, make the wild cards, the 7th seed. Lions are 4-12, and the Bears are 3-12, 3-4, whatever. Prison meal. Played a gyro, meat, chicken, fried fish, spaghetti, and falafel, and baklava for dessert. That sounds good too. Like gyro meat, like on the spit, as well as like tacos al pastor. Any time that you have like a circular thing of meat where it gets heated a la minute and just slice, it's amazing. Abda Absi, death row meal, grilled cheese sandwiches, spicy barbecue chicken tenders, and mango smooth. Yeah, I mean, every time it's like, you're like, oh, I want filet and foie gras. No, sometimes it's just really simple, like something that reminds you of youth or good times, or just something that I don't know, like, who wants Culver's? Oh, by the way, I need to clarify something. So I love Culver's. I've said on the channel that I think is the best fast casual burger out there. In fact, it actually goes over the top of some more like sit down places. But the reason I put Five Guys ahead of them in the wide receiver comparison wasn't because I think that Five Guys is better than Culver's. Actually, I think Five Guys is super overrated. But it was because of the joke, because there was 5 receivers, hence 5 guys. So that's why. We will do a definitive burger ranking here quickly, but I love Culver's. It's one of the few good things that come out of Wisconsin, like ever. Next up, Brett Vuvuzelas. I was wondering if you could look at the current 2020 Vikings roster and give me your opinion on them. Death row meal would be spaghetti. Sure, why not? Vikings 2020 roster. Like, Jake Browning, trash. Kirk Cousins, TBD. Sean Mannion, trash. Amir Abdullah, aight. Mike Boone, love him. Tony Brooks James, I do not know this man. Dalvin Cook, superstar in the making, if he can stay healthy, but also don't overpay him. CJ Ham, stud, love him. Alexander Madison, stud, love him. Braylon Addison, Chad Beebe, Davion Davis, Alexander Hollins, hey. BC Johnson, stud. Dylan Mitchell, Tyler Sharp, aight. Adam Thielen, Gronklin, Brandon Dillon, Marion Barbarian, let's go. By the way, Kirk Cousins should not be allowed to nickname people. What do you name, like the Marion Flash? Get out of here. Marion Barbarian. Even though, yes, it does infringe upon Marion Barber III. Go for great. The Pride of Izetta. Whatever. Kyle Rudolph. Irv Smith Jr. Garrett Bradbury. Avante Collins. Dakota Dozier. Pat Elfline. No. Rashad Hill. Brett Jones. Hey. Brian O'Neill. Stud. Future best right tackle in the game. Riley Reef. Drew Samia. Oli Udo. Def. Jalen Holmes. Daniil Hunter. I mean, come on. Julio Johnson. Stacey Keeley. Hercules Mount Alpha. One time. Afadio Denebo. Rising up. Michael Pierce. Hey. Shamar Stephen. Meh. Armand Watts. Underrated stud. Eddie Yarbrough. Cheeseburger Eddie. Meh. Anthony Zell. Hey. Anthony Barr. Yeah. DeMarquis Gates, the XFL linebacker. All right. Ben Gideon. No. Eric Hendricks. Stud. Cameron Smith. No. They already move on from the Cal kid, Devontae Downs. They must have. Chris Boyd. Mark Fields. Kermon Hall. Holton Hill. Stay clean. I mean, the new CBA is in place. Mike Hughes. One time. Nate Metters. Marcus Sales. Harrison Smith. Legendary. Dan Bailey. Britton Colquitt. Skullquit. Austin Cutting. Fine. Kentrell Brothers. Everson Griffin. Baby come back. Anthony Harris. Please stay. As well as Marcus Sherrills. It's time to retire, bro. As well as Eric Wilson. I like. Yeah, that is all. All right, next up. Also, let us know where you're watching from today. We'll give a couple of shout-outs to everyone in the live chat. We'll do that up here in a sec. Next up is... Toby Larone. Death row meal will be Wagyu beef and Louis the Eighth pizza. Question, what will be your wrestler name? Vike Flair. Woo! Yeah, eventually... All right, so, a couple things. I'm going to stop being lazy. We'll do a Vike Flair video, as well as we'll do the roasting of your mock drafts. We'll definitely do that. What is Louis the Eighth pizza? Does that mean... Is that like... Or, sorry, Louis the 13th pizza? Oh, that's just like super high-end stuff. The most expensive pizza in the world? All right, where is it? Oh, there it is. Louis... All right, Louis the 13th pizza from Salerno, Italy. 72 hours to make this pizza. When you order the pizza, you get a sommelier. Okay. 3 types of caviar, organic buffalo mozzarella, 7 cheese varieties. They got American cheese in there. Shoot. Australian pink salt from the Murray River. All right. Prawns. Other shrimp. Remy Martin cognac, Louis the 13th. Ooh, baby. Oh, wait. So it's only expensive because you're getting the Louis the 13th shot with it, right? I mean, it's not necessarily the pizza. It's like, hey, you can make the world's most expensive pizza by putting it on a Tesla. Oh, well, it's not expensive, but attach it to a Ferrari. All right. So we're gonna take a Little Caesars $5 hot and ready, put it on the hood of a Ferrari. World's most expensive pizza. That's what it is. Yeah. That is one of my things. Like, I'm not overly like frou-frou, but I mean, having a shot of Louis XIII would be certainly awesome. Sawyer Hodder, monthly Jerome. He just signed up. Awesome. Love you, man. Find out how you can sign up. Hit that join box down below. Let's see here. All right. Next up is a Big Chug. Is there a delay? There must be. Big Chug is Vikings on the clock at 22. Josh Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jeff Gladney are on the board. Who you take? Josh Jones. pretty easily. Where we like Ezra Cleveland, we like Lucas Niang, we like a bunch of the other day 2, day 3 offensive linemen, but I just think the upside of Josh Jones is so. I mean, it's so for me. Like Josh Jones, if you're talking about developmental upside left tackle, like he is certainly up there with Andre Dillard because they're both really old. But no, when Dillard went to Philly, well, the Vikings had Dillard. They chose Bradbury instead. I love Bradbury. Would have been fine if they had taken Dillard too, but that's what Josh Jones reminds me of. And yeah, I would assume be okay with that. Preach Paul. Thank you for the content, Andy. Now we're getting some. Yeah, this must be on like a 2-minute delay. Preach Paul, thank you for the content. Love the show. I don't have time to do so. It helps to stay abreast. What's up? Thank you, Preach Paul. Preach Paul, if you don't know, is a truck driver, 18-wheel. Big wheels keep on turning. Preacher Paul keeps on hauling. Probably toilet paper, TP for your bunghole. All right, so here's my thought. So the toilet paper mass runoff. So everyone's hoarding toilet paper, and it's not necessarily because TP is important for quarantine or anything like that. What happened was one Karen or Todd started like buying up all the toilet paper. So they bought like 20 things of toilet paper, right? And now what happens is that everyone at the store looking at them is like, oh, I need toilet paper. I better grab some too. And so then someone else sees them. It's like, oh, 2 people are hoarding toilet paper. I better grab some. And then some, and then some, and then some. And then that's how panic starts, especially with social media. Like people see a photo of like 5 people loading up on toilet paper. I better load up on toilet paper too. And that's what happens. And that's how like mass hysteria in terms of people hoarding toilet paper that started. And now every time you go to the store and you're buying a normal amount of toilet paper, like a requisite average amount of toilet paper to clean your butt, people look at you sideways. Like, you hoarder. Like, bitch, this is a 4-pack of Charmin. Get out of here. All right, so that's my thoughts on that. Next up, a couple shout-outs. All right, so we got Marcus Wengervich, Cornfield, Pennsylvania. It's a very original name. I'm sure it took the founders of Cornfield, Pennsylvania a long time. Everett Wychett, speaking of Cornfield, Nebraska, shout out there. Ting watcher from St. Paul on my toilet. Yeah, probably with all your hoarded toilet paper. Ben B, England, UK. Shout out across the pond. Let's see here. Johnny Yank Fitness, longtime OG Jerome. Falcon Heights, Minnesota. Shout out. Oh, right across from the State Fair. I don't know if we're going to have State Fair this year. It sucks. It really does suck because I was never a big State Fair person until I had kids, and now that's her favorite thing in the world. Or it's just like, oh, I just want like she likes to slide. And here's the thing too, like I'm not a big heights person. Like I'm not necessarily scared of heights. Well, no, I'm scared of heights where if you fell, you would get hurt and it would suck. But I'm not afraid of heights where if you fell, you would die. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense, but that's how things work. So we like the slide, and she's 4 now, but last year I still had to slide with her, and the wife was super pregnant, so she wasn't going to slide. So of course I had to drag my ass up those stupid stairs. Not social distancing, by the way, and also reusing all those mats. I mean, people's asses were on those, man. And then going down the slide, I thought for sure it's like, all right, so I'm gonna hit that first bump, and we're just gonna fly off this thing, and it'll be the horrific Minnesota State get together, the Minnesota State death together, as the massive slide massacre of 2019. Shout out Johnny Yang. Next up, Luke Gillett, Iowa. Anoka, shout out Northern Burbs. Sorry, Hodder, Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Shout out there. Preacher Paul, rolling through Madison. Sorry about that. London, France, from Majo Jesus. Wait a minute. Francisco Arneso, across the pond, Jerome, Lisbon, Portugal, represent. Baby. What's going on? Jerome Shalom, Detroit Lakes go crazy. Shout out up there. Hamburg, Germany. Let's see here. Let's see, Cleveland. Shout out from California. Alfred Percy, monthly Jerome. Love you. All right. A couple shout outs there. Keep rolling along on the questions. Absa Abdi, crazy idea. Oh yeah, I read this one. This is way too convoluted for me, but also I'm not trading Harrison Smith. Uh, Abda Absi, your death row question reminds me of the movie Shawshank Redemption. Up until now, has anything that's happened in the offseason resembles a movie? If you've seen it, of course. Vikings offseason, does it resemble a movie? I guess maybe The Matrix, or it started out really strong and then really ended up as like Dragon Ball Z. Maybe it's a bad example. Or, God, what would it be? I would have to think on that one. Zach Hazley. So the Vikings were to trade up into the top 12 or so. Who would you want? Oh, man. Andrew Thomas. Where I don't, again, I feel like this happens every single year where, big boards start shifting. And some of it is infusion of leaks coming from teams, design leaks, by the way. Or it's just people getting bored. People's like, I need to change mock draft 17.0 and to mock draft 18.0. I need to move things around. Or there was one draft that had Justin Herbert going 1 to the Bengals where that's just irresponsible. Ain't going to happen. I'm just trying to get clicks. Although I do commiserate because, of course, I try to get clicks too. Get out here. But I'm still shocked that Andrew Thomas is still seen below Becton, below Wills, below Wirfs, frankly. I'll go up and get Andrew Thomas. If Okudah somehow fell, that'd be interesting. Henderson to a degree. I don't think you have to go all up to 12 to get him. I would go get Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb at 12. Oh, Isaiah Simmons. I understand that linebacker and safety aren't necessarily premier needs, but Simmons is just an extremely fun, dynamic playmaker that you just need. Chase Young fell to 10. David Bryant. It's here. Let's see here. Now the Kirk is extended. Do you think the Vikings should draft a quarterback of the future? Also, my death row meal will be a medium rare steak, mac and cheese, baked beans, and bacon bits, and Corbin for dessert. Chocolate pie all mode. That's a great death row meal. That'd be really good. I do think the Vikings should draft a quarterback, but of course I'm default draft a quarterback every other year at minimum. But I mean, it's something that Spielman hasn't done. Last time he took a non-first round quarterback was 2008 when they spent a 5th round pick on John David Booty. And with Kirk extended, basically calling the shots, I don't see a quarterback, even if one fell. Like Jordan Love could fall to the 2nd round. Probably won't, but and I think they still might pass on him at 58. I really do. So they're passing on Hurts. They're passing on Jake from State Farm. They're passing on Eason, even though who cares about Eason? It's so frustrating to me, but it is what it is. Next up, Cyberrolling123. You said you like old box scores. What are your favorite NFL highlight tapes to watch? Also, would you take Brian Dawkins or Champ Bailey in their prime? I would take Champ. It's pretty close though, over Brian Dawkins. Pride of Clemson. Where Champ Bailey? Oh, Champ Bailey went to Georgia. Old box scores. But what are your favorite NFL highlight tapes to watch? If you remember, like bloopers where they're putting in songs like meh, meh, or they bleep out cursing on the field, like the old school like NFL films VHSs, or of course you can't do this now, but it's like greatest hits in NFL history. Like that was always good. Or remember when ESPN did Jacked Up, and then they're like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do this, and then they turned it into Come On Man, which Steve Patton. If wide receiver doesn't get all right, so yeah, old school NFL film highlights, like now everything is very hermetically sealed and corporate and stuff, but whatever happened to just having fun about stuff where they would put together highlights. You can find some of these on YouTube where it was just really fun highlights. It was fun, upbeat music. They would inject humor in there. It was great. But now where everything is like, well, no, don't get me wrong, like the tubular bells, or this, and John Facenda, smoking through the hole in his throat. And then the Iron Curtain descended upon the Dallas Cowboys as the Pittsburgh Steelers imposed their will. Or like those old school Raiders ones. Daryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, dropping an A-bomb on the Chargers. Those are great too. But I'm just looking for like the more like upbeat NFL films, old school videos. You know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, whatever. Next up, you said, Steve Patton. I mean, live chat, agree with me. If wide receiver doesn't get dressed in the first round and the following follow us at 26, 226, so 58, who would you pick and why? Chenault, Pittman, Claypool, Hamler, DPJ, Ayuk. I really like Chenault, except if he's going to be your 1-1 receiver, I'm a little worried he could go the Cordero route, but he is certainly he is the Percy Harvin of this draft. Health is a concern. I like Pittman as a big outside receiver. I do think he may be a little bit limited, also a bit of a one-year wonder. Claypool is obviously the physical freak, but you also wonder, all right, so this is a guy who couldn't overtake Miles Boykin. Okay. Hamler, Speeds. Hamler would bring a really fun dynamic to this team. He really would. Ayuk is phenomenal as well. I think he's really electric. I think Ayuk and Jalen Reagor are pretty similar players to me. DPJ is like a poor man's Michael Pittman, but I may pick Hamler. It's either Hamler or Ayuk to me of this group. Although, God, I love Chenault. I really do. But if you need a guy to come in, contribute right away, Hamler, Ayuk, Chenault, Pittman, Claypool, DPJ. Riley Coyote. What do you think about John Simpson, left guard from Clemson? I don't know why he isn't getting more love. Like he is a grown ass man. Great story about him and his upbringing, and I think that he played at an extremely high level for Clemson for a number of years, both tackle as. Oh no, he's only left guard. I'll be fine. Like not necessarily scheme fit, probably better in a man or a gap scheme, but I mean talent is talent at a certain point. I wouldn't mind him like day 2-ish. There you go. Maximum Meridius in the live chat. Andy, do you believe that cut Klein because they believe they can Drew Simeon, also possibly Oli Udoh at guard? Heard this. Yeah, I think it's a big belief in Drew Simeon, a big belief in Oli Udoh, as well as I think that they think they could potentially re-sign him for cheaper later, which, maybe not. We'll see. Also in the super chat, Alfred Percy, new monthly Jerome. What's going on? Which defensive tackle would you pair next to Pierce to give us the closest resemblance to the Williams wall? Well, Armon Watts is my guy. I really love Armon Watts. He played a little bit of nose tackle as well at Arkansas as well, but he can really just get after it. Like you saw it last year. Like good things happen when he was on the field. Like he can generate pressure from that 3-tech spot. He can do a lot of great things. So for me, it would be Pierce and Armon Watts as currently constituted. Or can we get Pierce and Kinlaw one time? Why not? All right. Steve Grissom, do you think it's possible to use draft capital trade up to a pick in the mid-teens to get Trent? If so, how would they manage it? And get Trent? Oh, trade up into the mid-teens, and get Trent. Okay. Washington wants a 2. I don't think they'll necessarily get a 2. You could dangle one of the 3s or like a 3 and a 5 or a 3 and a 6. I think they eventually would get it done. Trading up into the mid-teens from, say, 22 or 25 probably would take that second rounder. So if it's a spot where you're trading up to get like CJ Henderson or Jerry Jeudy or one of the other premier talents that fall, and then you get Trent Williams for the 3rd, okay, I'll go with that. Max Kallenberg, what corners in the draft outside of Okudah would you pick over Hughes if you could only have one? Oh, so putting 2018 Hughes back into the draft class? Okay, all right, that's kind of fun. I would put Hughes slightly behind Henderson, CJ Henderson off Florida. I'll put him above Christian Fulton and everyone else. There you go. So for me, Hughes, if he was in this draft class, 2018 Mike Hughes, he'd be the 3rd corner off the board. R. Wheeler. The Vikings, I think, should draft 2 corners. What about you, Andy? Also, Death Row meal will be mashed potato and steak dinner with ice cream for dessert. Yeah, I mean, Death Row meal, just simple. Amazing. There you go. Yeah, I do agree on the 2 corners. We talked about we had some thoughts about Matt Miller's post-free agency mock draft that we just put up as a video. I didn't necessarily care for it. He did go corner. Now, first one was Gladney at 22, which I love, I adore. And then second round, he went Cameron Dantzler on Mississippi State, which, But I'm certainly fine with, say you go corner round 1, circle around either round 3 or round 4, or even round 5. I mean, this is a very solid cornerback class. Not as deep as the wide receiver class, and certainly it's a little bit more top heavy. But yeah, come up with 2 corners in this draft, throw them in there with Hughes and Hill and Boyd and Metters and Mark Fields. It'll be fine. Chris Reisel, 2 things. First, Chris Sims thinks that Jerry Jeudy isn't a top 20 pick. I feel like Chris Sims sometimes just says things just to get hot takes, just to get people talking about things, because some of the stuff that he puts out there is just completely out of left field. It really is. And it's someone who says things out of left field just to get attention a lot. I know someone who says things out of left field just to get attention a lot. System Zero was taking that. I don't agree with that at all. I would take him at 22. Also, I don't see him being there. Giants are super weak at safety. Do you think it's possible to trade Harris and a 1 to get their 1, or is that out of reach? I don't know, but if you did trade up to 4, like, who would you take at that spot? I mean, Chase Young fell. Obviously, that'd be good. Isaiah Simmons, Okuda if he's there. Would you go Becton or Thomas? I would go Thomas. Would you go Derek Brown in that spot? Man. I haven't even really thought about like the top 5-ish prospects, just because the Vikings are so back so far. Alexander Garcia, who's your favorite cornerback of all time? We'll do Vikings. We'll do NFL. So Vikings. I mean, it's Antoine Winfield Sr. It's pretty obvious for me. Also, I love Antoine Winfield because he played at Canterbury, so he's a poker player. I remember him playing like 30-60 with those former like tan clay chips that used to be the $10 chips, the brown now. But just like every time he would have 2 per. It's like, what we got tomorrow? I got 2 per. Okay. NFL wise, Revis is the GOAT, except he wasn't necessarily fun to watch because, I mean, he just locked down wide receiver 1 and then people didn't throw on him. I mean, Deion Sanders, it's hard to go wrong. It really is. Just the showman, the high stepping, and he was just a big play waiting to happen. It was just really, and every time he picked it off, it turned into a punt return. It was really great. Or I'll extend that even farther. Favorite DB of all time is Ed Reed. God, I love Ed Reed. At the U, doing amazing things. Speaking of every turnover being a punt return, I mean, yeah, I love Ed Reed. Jacob Sly. Alex, to me, as much as the next guy, but do you really feel comfortable in penciling a starting right guard? Yes. The O-line is worrisome to me, is currently constructed. I feel comfortable with the 5 current. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with them either. That's why you have the draft. Yeah. Seth V. Herman. If you had to give up meat for life or give up making podcasts YouTube for life, what would you do and why? I would give up podcasts and YouTube in a hot second because meat is amazing. Especially getting at hunting now. So just like really good, amazing venison. I can't wait to eventually harvest an elk. That just, yeah. It's the stuff of life. I mean, what else are you going to do? Eat mac and cheese all day? Which actually sounds pretty good too. Stanley Maros. If the big 5 tackles are gone by 22, I'm all down doubling cornerback 22-25. Say Fulton and Gladney. Pair up with Hughes in the slot. Second round, go wide receiver. I'm fine with doubling down on cornerback. Just probably not in the first round. Death Row Dish should be steak and salmon. Ooh, a little surf and turf. Love it. New to the channel. Love contest goal from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Scranton. Lazy Scranton. What? Shout out to you, Stanley. Stanley from Scranton? Wait a minute. Wait a gosh darn minute. We got Stanley from Scranton? Come on. Pulford Skull. Draft day, the phone rings. What should you take? Number 1, Falcons offer Julio for Anthony Harrison a 5th. Well, I'm taking that one. Colts offer T.Y. and a 5th for Dalvin Cook. No. Bengals offer A.J. Green. No. So I'm taking Julio and just running away. It's like, Dimitrov, you stupid bitch. Click. Send. Cyberboy123. What's your best fantasy football lineup and what year was it? I don't remember a specific lineup, but I do remember whatever year Jerome Harrison. Jerome Harrison. I think he was out of Washington State, but it was with the Browns. We're number 35, and like the last couple of games. Now we gotta look up because that's what we do on the show. Jerome Harrison. Also, I believe he had a brain tumor that he recovered from. So shout out there. All right, yeah. So 37. Went to Washington State, nailed it. But yeah, if you just look at his career stats, so his big season was 2009 in Cleveland, where, yeah, if you look at the years, like, all right, so 862, 5 touchdowns, like, okay, it's like a Ronnie Hillman esque season. But you look at his game logs from '09, and I'm sure he won a lot of people fantasy championships. So, like the last 3 games of the season, I mean, look at this complete and utter nonsense. 34 for 286, 3 tutties. No big deal. Next up, against Oakland, 39 carries again. Not a great yards per carry, but he's getting that work. He's getting that volume. A buck 48 and a touchdown, and then 127 and a touchdown. This one, Cleveland was just atrocious, right? Yeah, '09 Cleveland. Yeah, that was a fun year too, because of course that was the '09 Vikings. How do we do? So '09 Cleveland, 5-11, Eric Mangini. So they're just playing out the string here, and then they just kept feeding the rock to Jerome Harrison. Oh man, that's a lot worse. All right, so they're 1-11, 1-11 before this stretch. And then they just start feeding the rock to Jerome Harrison. That's right. All right, so that was, I mean, well, Peyton Hillis, that was also great. It's always the Browns. It really is. Tristan, do you think Eric Nelson? Yeah, right. Eric Nelson, would you trade our 2 first-round picks and a second in 2021 to move up and take Tua? I would, except, I mean, that stupid Cousins extension. Yes, the trade clause has been lifted on the extension, but I would trade up for Tua. If that hip checks out, if Sugarman's like, that's a good hip, I would, because I think a lot of people are sleeping on Tua. I think that he has the moxie. I think he has the accuracy. I think he has all the intangibles to be a great NFL quarterback. And, yeah. Let's see here. Pulford Skull. Signed 1 XFL player, Cameron Gates, and Cam Phillips, Nicole. Yeah, I'm surprised that Cam Phillips hasn't signed anywhere. Actually, let's check that out, because news always breaks while we're streaming. Cam Phillips, he signed anywhere? He has not signed anywhere. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't gotten a little bit of stank, a little bit of some of his own. Sorry, I'm just reading the news. Man, it's depressing, man. Next up, do you think the Vikings will draft Thaddeus Moss? 5th round, sure. Earlier than that, nah. Travis, do you like Eric Wilson as a backup? I do. Do you think he'll develop into a starter? It's possible. All right, so the big problem is he's amazing in coverage, quick as a whip, and do all that thing. He's sometimes at the point of attack, he gets a little bit overpowered. Sometimes he misses tackles. That's the biggest knock against him. And of course, yeah, linebacker misses castles, of course. Yeah. So next up, Chase and Gelke. My death row meal will be a Big Mac, fries, bucket of KFC, Dairy Queen. Yeah, that'd be the way to go out. Volume, man. Volume. Danny Rivera, what's your opinion on Damon Arnett? Personally, I'm okay with him. So last meal will be porterhouse steak, corn on the cob, mashed potatoes. I do like Arnett. I think he certainly got overshadowed quite a bit by Okudah, as well as because a lot of teams were going away from Okudah, so they were going after Arnett. I think he held up really well. I think he is pretty firmly towards the back end of that second tier cornerbacks. But I mean, yeah, if he's the guy round 2, potentially round 3, I wouldn't mind him at all. Richard Wilson. Who's a monthly Jerome. There you go. How many times will Rick trade down and get a total number of picks? I think Rick will trade down once, and the Vikings will end up, well, we'll trade down once, we'll trade up once, the Vikings will still end up with said 12 picks. Last meal, prime rib, medium rare, damn straight, a baked potato, sour cream, butter, onion rings, chocolate cherry cake, and a blue moon. Yeah, that sounds really good too, man. All right, so, prime rib rant. So everyone likes prime rib. It's great. Like every other restaurant and supper club across this great country of ours serves as like a Friday or Saturday special. So for me, prime rib. So I got the rib roast, got the rib eye. It's all good. But for me, I like texture on the meat, right? So that's why I'm not really that into filet. It's like, oh, it's so tender. I mean, that's cool if you're like 80 and have no teeth, and you got the Rona, sure. But what's great about the rib eye is if it's a grilled rib eye, some that fat just sort of melts and just sort of gets all that nice in there. But also it's the texture of the searing of the outside of the steak, right? So that's why steaks are so amazing. So medium rare on the inside, you got that nice little crust on the outside. Sometimes you go steak au poivre, a little bit of pepper crust. Or people get blackened steak or like Cajun style steaks just because addicted to that crust. I mean, that's why barbecue is so great too. So for a prime rib, yeah, you get all the greatness of the ribeye, but also you're missing out on that texture. Like there's a reason why like the butts of the ribeyes are some of the most popular pieces, right? Like that's what I ask for. If we go and get a prime rib, because even though yes, it's not going to be exactly medium rare, it's going to be closer to medium. But I mean, just that crust, that flavor, just amazing. Why do you think the outside of a slice of a prime rib is always the best? Because it's got texture, it's got amazingness. But yeah. Next up, Ford Savage 87. Death row meal is cheese dosa, batata bhaji, and sambar. Do you think Vikings defense continue where they left off last season and finish top 5 in turnovers? Yeah, well, if they keep Anthony Harris, and they draft Jeff Gladney, yes. I mean, just gambling ball hawks, everyone, everywhere. Also, Mike Hughes returns the form because people forget how hawkish Mike Hughes is as well. Plus, big shout out. Love that Indian last meal. Blake Robinson. Do you think they should go after Yannick Ngakoue? What is your thought? What would be your max trade offer? He's a great edge rusher. Problem is, you'd have to give up something, and you'd have to pay him. I would give up something like insultingly low, so they could say no. I'd say like a 2, and then they'd be like no. I'd be like, okay, good talk. That's about it. Last meal: Juicy Lucy and fries from Matt's with chocolate milkshake. Respect. There you go. If Lamb and Ruggs are available at 22, who are you taking? I would go Lamb, but I feel like for what the Vikings want to do on the outside, just Ruggs' pure speed, as well as I think he's an underrated route runner. You worry about durability concerns, but if you're looking for a facsimile of Tyreek Hill in this draft, it would be Ruggs, maybe KJ Hamler, but I would go Lamb. I would, because I think Lamb is like Nuke Hopkins 1.0, 2.0, whatever. JD Almighty JD. I'm good at reading. Say this could be a thing. Would you trade 58 for Keenan Allen? Yeah. Yes, I would. Although Allen does play a lot from the slot, so against the crossover between him and Thielen. Honolulu Western death row meal, $20 KFC fill up. So isn't it like 4 of them, or $20 of KFC fill ups? But he lives in Hawaii. No, I always call him Honolulu, except I say it's Honolulu. So it's like maybe in Hawaii, since things are more expensive to get out there, it is $20 for a KFC fill up box. I don't know. It's a great mystery of our time. Sam Becker, Eli Apple, one time. No. Oh my God, no. In terms of a guy whose media coverage versus his level of play are completely disproportionate, Eli Apple is probably one of the worst cornerbacks in the league. He really, really is. And I mean, also, man, if I'm Eli Apple's mom is more famous than him. Like, remember when she was on like NFL Countdown because of her tweeting and stuff like that? Or it's like, if I'm Eli Apple, not only am I getting overshadowed by my mom, but I'm also just getting roasted every single day in the National Football League. Even though I came out from DBU, Ohio State. DBU 2, sorry. No. Billy Long. I guess I always wanted to try horse steaks. I mean, they eat a lot of horse in Europe, like the Netherlands especially. Yeah. Yep. So maybe horse prime rib, steak fries, horse ranch. I see what you did there. A1 high school doctor, simple. You only live once. Yeah. YOLO. Kellen Smith. Okay, random, but was the best theme song to a TV show? I know that April Fools on Instagram. Someone said Vikings and Antonio Brown. Probably no one Antonio Brown. But theme song to a TV show. Also, what's the deal with TV show, like hour-long TV shows now having a 5-minute long intro? Because you look at a lot of the cable shows, you look at Game of Thrones, why? Why? What is going on? Or Narcos too? I love you, Narcos, but what the hell? Best theme song. Making the way in the world today takes everything you got. Sometimes you have to get away. Down, down. Sometimes you gotta go where Ted Danson will pour you a beer. Bum, bum, bum. And alcoholism with John Ransenberger. Dun, dun, dun. Kelsey Grammer is the only one who's actually gainfully employed. And also Woody Harrelson is there for some reason. Dun, dun, dun. Also, Rhea Pearl, you had Danny DeVito's wife on the show, and Danny DeVito didn't show up one time. I mean, it should have been Always Sunny and Cheers. All right, so I say Cheers. Next up is, coming towards the bottom. Now we're here. All right, Jerome Shalom. Switching to a pass-first offense. Country for, no, not with his current personnel. I mean, I would be okay opening this thing up, but with Zimmer here, yeah. Switching to a pass-first offense. Oh, I already read that. Country fried steak and country gravy, 3 eggs over easy, butter rye toast, and fried potatoes. Woo! Extra gravy with a hot cup of coffee. I love it. I'm in. Preacher Paul. Death row meal. Good fried chicken, medium breading, garlic mashed potatoes with the lumps. First corn on the cob. Fully agree. You're seeing like a lot of these are just like home style meals are just amazing. That's what we want to go out with. Screw the $1,300 pizza. Or $13,000 pizza. Oh, yeah, here. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this thing up. We should gonna do another mock one time for the Vikes. And of course, we do like the. We're gonna do a mock draft, except we're going to do picks that we don't usually make. So we'll just do that up. All right, so in this one. Burrow 1, Young 2, Okuda 3. All right, so look at the big board. Big offensive linemen are gone. Big wide receivers are gone. Cornerbacks wise, man, what the hell happened in this draft? All right, so Henderson is gone. Okuda is gone. Gladney is gone. Wait, so where did... What? What is happening? Okay, so that happened. Where's Christian Fulton? Where'd he go? Unless I'm just completely missing this. Oh. I get it. That's funny now. All right, so Christian Fulton is there. Jedrick Wills is still on board. Woo! All right, so even though he only played right tackle at Alabama, I actually think he could switch over to left tackle, but he could just put him at guard for now. Which, I mean, if this happened, it'd be rude not to. All right, so I just scroll down the big board because I'm a moron. All right, so Mims, Rieger, Chenault is there, but I mean, with Wills, eventually could you move Brian to the left tackle? Sure. Put Wills in at right tackle? Sure. I mean, death. I mean, what the hell? Do we just double back on offensive line right now? One time? All right, cornerback wise. All right, so Fulton went. Unfortunately. What the hell? Patriots don't take quarterback. It's odd. All right, so cornerback, we can sit for a little bit. Wide receiver, of course, we know we love Jalen Rieger. We love Chenault. But we said we're going to pick guys we generally don't pick. All right, so we're going to go Higgins. Big body, catch radius guy. Start out at the X. Be good to go there. All right, so if this is the Vikings day one, I'm pretty much in. I mean, Jedrick Wills falling that far. Like, what drug test did he fail? Or what incriminating video did come out by him? But the fact that you're getting him at 22, it's amazing value. All right, so Ayuk is still there. Ooh, second round. Cornerback-wise, though, Arnett, Dancer, no. All right, so we're always picking Bryce Hall here, so we'll go Arnett. Welcome to the Vikings. And again, we're doing a Vikings 7-round mock where we pick guys we generally don't pick. There you go. I think it's a good exercise, too, because you start to see potentially where some other guys go. Convince yourself about other names. Never a bad thing. All right, so back on the clock. Lots of offensive line talent up top. Pretty much taking care of the main needs. Even though I do draft Robertson a lot. Or just go offensive line here back to back. Let's look at the interior. Nathaniel Moody, Sternberg, Biadish. All right. We are going to double down. So, Mick Robinson coming in, slot cornerback out of Louisiana Tech. Probably the best straightforward slot cornerback in the draft. Pretty easy to grab there. All right, back up on the clock again. Back up in that ass with the resurrection. Do we do this? Do we go Antonio Gibson? Yeah, he's listed as a running back, but he's basically a wide receiver in running backs. He's Cordero, a little bit more focused Cordero. Yeah, we're going to do it. Why the hell not? I mean, these are supposed to be fun, right? Let's go Jared Allen on this bit and always have fun. Don't take ourselves too seriously. All right, next up. All right, so go offensive lineman. Nick Coe for show. I like. We always go Nick Coe, though. All right, go the edge guy from Michigan State. What's up, Kenny? Shoot. All right, so now Vikings got 2 cornerbacks. They got an offensive lineman, the premier offensive lineman. I probably should circle back at O-line at some point. Oh, Kyle Murphy. All right, so Kyle Murphy is a guy that we like out of Rhode Island. He played tackle out there. He's going to kick inside. Small school dude, but brings a little bit of nastiness to him. I like it. Also, he wears a cowboy collar, which not enough offensive linemen wear cowboy collars anymore. It's really a dying art. Like Tyron Smith is just carrying the torch. He's carrying the mantle. All right, so Gibson and Higgins are Gibson is basically a wide receiver, so no harm, no foul there. Double back on cornerback, got an edge, double back on offensive lineman. So just free to go BPA at this point. Going through. All right, Tanner Muse. If you can get Tanner Muse at this stage of the game in round 6, you're good. Omar's coming. France Bernard, linebacker, Utah. That's how we roll. Oh, Benito Jones is there? Come on, Benito. Oh, he gone. We always draft James Lynch, though. Come on, Martin. Coming in from the Gophers, tackling machine. You know what I mean? Top of the 7th round. No big deal. Shoot. Quarterback-wise, we do want someone. Man. I'm not really into Kelly Bryant. Man. All right, Colt McDonald, 7th round. Fine. Then lastly, how about one more offense? Oh, Charlie Heck.